Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Brass Roots. We're hosting the show from the Northwest Area Brass Band Association, or the NWA BBA, and if you have those letters in Scrabble, you might as well give up now. So, what's in the show, I hear you ask? No? Okay. Well, as you can see, we're here in the Las Vegas of the North. It's Blackpool. So, Blackpool. Well, it's fair to say that Blackpool is one of the most famous places in the United Kingdom. But for those of you who've not been to the Northwest Coast, and why haven't you, we've put together a handy little guide to give you a feel of what makes Blackpool really tick. Now, every September, many celebrities have switched the lights on, including Robbie Williams, the boys from Top Gear, Jonathan Ross, Peter Kay, and last year was opera star Alfie Boe. In 1885, Blackpool introduced the world's first permanent electric street tramway. Now, it runs from Blackpool through to Fleetwood along the Fylde coast, and last year ferried 5.2 million passengers. That's 10.4 million pairs of buttocks. Wow. In 1991, the world's biggest stick of rock was made in Blackpool by Coronation Rock. It was 19 foot long and weighed 416.3 kilograms. Rock on, Tommy! Of course, we couldn't do a show from Blackpool without talking about the tower itself. Now, it takes 7 years to paint the whole of the Blackpool Tower, and it stands the height of 518 foot and was inspired by the Eiffel Tower in Paris, of course. Opened in 1894, it's the 120th tallest freestanding building in the world. It's really quite something. But Blackpool also is birthplace to some tremendously grand names, such as actor David Thewlis, who was Professor Remus Lupin from Harry Potter, The Cure's Robert Smith, Doctor Who sidekick and star of ITV series Victoria, Jenna Coleman, and best and most random fact of the day, John Mahoney from Frasier. Who knew? Okay, so one for you fact fans out there. In September 1977, a famous racing horse switched on the Blackpool illuminations. Yep, Red Rum had just won his third Grand National in that April and pressed his big hoof against the button, and he was the star of the show. Now, it takes 14 weeks to take down all the lights of the illuminations. There are more than 500 designs involved in the lights, and the cables and wiring stretch a huge 200 miles. I think you'll agree, that's massive. We took a short trip out to meet up with our band for today. Now, we're here on the outskirts of Blackpool to meet one of the competing bands today. Eccles Borough Band are looking to do well in the first section, and having won at Butlins over a year ago, they are due a win and potentially promotion to Championship section. Let's go meet them. We join them as last-minute rehearsals are taking place. There is plenty of excitement and maybe just a touch of nerves. I'm joined by Andy Wright, who's playing percussion for Eccles Borough Band today. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Fine.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about what kind of preparation a band goes through when they're looking to play in a competition.
Well, it's pretty intense at Eccles. We tend to start rehearsing the piece about 6 weeks before. We've just finished the Butlins test piece and straight into this one, and it's virtually 2 to 3 times a week. In the past week, every night, so it's pretty intense.
So how long have you given over your time to Eccles Borough Band?
49 years.
People get less than that than murder.
No, they do. 50 years. I think I might call it a day at 50.
Is that an exclusive?
I'm getting old now and it's tiring, and these are getting so good that I don't think I'll be up to it much after that anyway.
So from a player's point of view, is everything, when you're in a band, is everything focused towards competitions, or is it just part of being able to be part of a band and just coming to play anyway?
I think it's everything really. It's a very friendly band, very social band, and we all get on well together. It's just the whole atmosphere of Eccles is fairly unique, and you'll often see players who played with us before who'll come up to you and say they remember their times very fondly with us because it's such a friendly band.
And so when it comes to the day of the competition, obviously you're rehearsing now,
Yeah.
and then you'll travel down to Winter Gardens, the venue, later on today. Sort of, do nerves start playing a part at any point?
Backstage really, I think, is the worst part. But once you're on, it's generally okay then.
And then obviously you've got the anticipation of waiting for the results. What's that like from a player's point of view?
It depends how you played, I think. It's always great to win, you know, that when you hear your name read out as one of the podium finishes, it's always a great feeling. And one of the reasons for keep doing this is because it's such a great thrill to win.
Okay, so obviously the competition today, I assume you're looking to try and obviously get a place.
Yeah, we'd love to. I mean, the frightening thing is if we win it, we get promoted to championship, and that's a completely different ball game, obviously. Top two, if we can get down to Cheltenham, that would be great. That would be a fantastic end to my 49 years of playing with Eccles Band.
And come on, give me an honest feeling. How do you feel? What are your feelings about being placed? I mean, do you think you're in with a good shot?
Well, Marika's rehearsed us really well, and the band are sounding great. If I'm honest, top six would be a good result for us today. That would be a fantastic achievement. And the band that's really not been in the first section that long. We've only been in for, I think this is our third year. I might be wrong, and that might be second, but it's third year. Certainly, it would be a great achievement, top six.
Okay, well, listen, we'll catch up with you later on after you've played, and good luck with the competition.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so with me I've got Marika, who's going to be conducting Eccles Band today. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. So, just talk me through, and for the people watching, kind of what preparation you have to go through as a band that's going into a competition.
Well, the preparation is it's multifaceted, really. There's a mental preparation, depending on how they played at the last contest, how they performed there, how they felt about it, and then there's just the physical rehearsing of the piece, dividing it up into sectionals and getting it together, and then a lot of full band rehearsals to actually get the piece to perform. And it's not just playing a piece that's there in front of you, it's a piece of music, so we try to get the whole picture.
And what's the process about choosing a piece?
Well, we don't choose these pieces, they're chosen for us. And everyone's got their opinion on what they think of the pieces. I think Symphony of Marches is a deceptively difficult piece because it's a piece that requires a lot of skill. It's very hard for the front row. In terms of range, it's demanding, but also too stylistically, you have to hit the right style to get, if you can get 25 people plus percussion all thinking the same way, you're getting close to having a good performance and a good style and shape about the piece.
Okay, so I suppose key question is, it's only a few hours before you compete today, what kind of shape are you in?
I think the band's in very good shape. We've gone through quite a few changes over the last 12 months, I would think. We're a band that I've been with the band next year. I think it's 10 years, and I got them fresh out of the fourth section, and we have climbed quite quickly, and that means that players either leave the band or we move around, and we've had a lot of that over the last 12 months. But I think they're sitting quite well at the minute, and I don't go into a contest thinking about others. I think about what I try not to compare, because it's what we can do, and I think what we can do today is put down a very confident performance of Symphony of Marches.
And is it in the back of your mind, the fact that if you do get placed, then there's potential promotion to championship for you?
Yes, that scares me to death. Of course, look, the climb, I think once we got to second section, there were certain goals about what the band wanted to do, and obviously it would be very pleasing if the band was to make that next jump. because that's what you want to do. The band wants to improve, they want to get better. So we'll see. I think that I try not to think about those things, because you can't.
Trust me to bring it up.
No, well, no more pressure on the morning of a contest. Thank you very much. But I try not to think about those things. I think about what we're doing in our band room and what we can do on stage. And it's lovely that we're a band that. At Butlins a couple of years ago, I was so overwhelmed with the number of people that I didn't know from other first section bands that came up or sent me messages saying, "Oh, we were in and we heard it. It's so lovely to hear the band playing so well." So we're not a band that people go, "Oh, Eccles, I hope you do badly." I think I could be wrong. People might think that we're that's the opposite of what I said. But I think we're a band that just has a lot of respect, because we have been pushing and we have been noticed, and they're a fairly happy, weird little bunch. So it's...
Well, you heard it here first. Just very quickly, and I know obviously you're looking to get off, but from my point of view, it's interesting. You're clearly Antipodean. So kind of, does brass banding have a place in Australia as it does in the UK? And how did you come to be involved?
Well, but there's quite a large brass band movement in Australia. I started playing cornet when I was about 5 and gave that away for violin. But my dad and mum were both involved in brass bands, and I think when I got to about 18, I thought, well, I'm going to go and join Dad and play with Brisbane Excelsior at the time. And then, I basically took a year out of work, came over and stayed.
Wowzers. And people dream of going the other way.
I know. Well, I don't think I'd be here if I didn't like it. It's a lovely, I think okay, it's Blackpool and it's blue, so you can't ask for much better than this.
No, exactly. Well, listen, the best of luck today. We'll be following you throughout the day, and obviously once you've performed and when the results come in, and hopefully you'll get placed and that promotion will come your way.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed. Thank you. Just the last few minutes of practice to iron out any issues. A championship place awaits. So that's it. The band have played, the band have rehearsed, they're sounding great, they're sounding tight. Marika seems relatively confident about how they're going to perform, so it's all down to the important draw and then obviously the performance. We'll catch up with them later.
Number 14!
The draw has been made and Eccles will play in 14.
Bingo! So, well, what are we?
14! 1, 4.
Oh, hey!
What time's that? You're going to miss the match.
After 13.
You're going to miss the match.
We headed back to Blackpool and chatted with Matt on the way.
The band have got a sort of mythology of we've always done fairly well off the back three. So there's a little boost of confidence there with that. We're quite happy that we're not number 9, because we'd all have to be racing over and playing straight away. And it just gives a little bit more time, I think, for us to settle ourselves, ground ourselves, and get into the mindset. Like Marika said, she's not fighting to go on and take everybody out by the scruff of the neck sort of thing. We know we can put on a good performance. We just want to go on and show that we can do that. And I think this draw should sort of allow us to do that. A few of the heavy hitters have been in already. A couple of bands who we've been worrying about. So I think that's good as well. So I think we're fairly sort of comfortable with it. Yeah.
So you mentioned some of the heavy hitters. Who are the ones that you're kind of on the lookout to see that obviously your competition?
We've been keeping a close eye on Borshurst. They've been doing very well recently. They're sort of our main competition. Rainford as well, and a few people have been sort of banding about Robert's Bakery and people like that as well. It's a big section though. It's a big section. There's a lot of good bands there. A few have come down from the championship who are naturally going to be that little step ahead of everyone else. But at the same time, I think the band, as we are now, have proven that actually we've sort of settled down a bit. We're quite comfortable where we are as a group of players, and we should be doing all right, I think.
And obviously, there's huge potential for you guys if you are placed to then step up to championship. Is that something that's on the back of the mind of all the players?
I think it is. Yeah. Some people, as anybody would be, some people I think are a little bit worried about it because it's a big step to take. If you consider 10 years ago we were third section, so there's been some great progression for the band as it is. A few people I think would relish the opportunity, really get the teeth into it. A few of us have done championship stuff before in the past, so it wouldn't particularly faze some people. Marika is well versed in all the bands right across the section, so I think she'd sort of take it by the scruff of the neck and run with it. But I don't think it's taking so much toll on people's mind to affect how we play. If we do go up, we go up, and we compete against the top bands, and we do our best. And if not, then we're in the first section for another year, and hopefully we can pick up some more prizes.
So go on then, give me your gut instinct. Do you think by the end of today, when we get the results, that you'll be a championship band?
I'd like to think so. But it's very much in the lap of the adjudicating gods. So we'll see. But hopefully.
That's it for part 1. Join us in part 2 for more action from Blackpool. So Blackpool is known as the home of ballroom dancing, and any of you Strictly fans out there will know that it hosts the British National Dance Championships every year in the Winter Gardens. And this is where the North West area's brass band competitions are being held. So let's go and take a closer look. The world famous Winter Gardens hosts everything from classical to pop and almost anything in between. Recently restored to its decadent, opulent Victorian best, it's a venue full of grandeur and charm. The North West Area's Championship will see over 60 bands through the doors today and thousands more to watch. That's enough to bring you sunshine on any day. Backstage, Eccles are preparing to play, and Debbie gives us an insight into how they are feeling. So, you're just about to go and do your performance. How do you feel right at this moment?
Really excited, yeah. We've all worked really hard, so whatever happens, happens. We just go out there and do our best performance that we can, as the boss says. So.
And obviously, the potential for you to be then promoted to championship if you get a good placing. How does that have any bearing on the way you perform?
Well, as I say, we've all worked really hard, so that's the end goal. That's what we really want. So it's daunting. There's a lot of really good bands in this section and the championship section. So see what happens. We'll give it our best shot.
So nerves play a part at all?
Yes and no. I think this band especially always has a really good, spirit and feel about it before we go on stage. We just have a good time and do what we do best. We're good at performing, so just don't let nerves get in the way. So.
Okay, well, not long to go, so the best of luck, and we'll catch up with you when the results come out.
Perfect. See you
later. Thank you. Final preparations. The all-important registration is complete. Highlighter pens at the ready, and then take a seat. No going back now. Marika tells us how she's feeling. literally minutes away from when you're about to perform. How do you feel?
I'm always a bit anxious at this point. I'm better when I'm walking in the room. Yeah.
And is there any kind of preparation that you have to do personally, or is it just kind of, right, we've rehearsed as much as we can do, it's in the lap of the gods?
No, I sing the first bar. Need to know how that goes.
Right, okay, and then you make a decision from there?
No, I just making sure that I need to lead by example. If I'm confident, they're confident. If I go in and it's like anything. If you look like you're the weaker, the weakest link, then you're not going to strive to. We're not going to get that sort of level of confidence out of the band. So,
and there's a real kind of frisson of excitement in the room, especially from my point of view, standing here. Kind of, does this kind of level of competition and the excitement, can that affect a band kind of adversely?
Oh yeah, I mean they're annoyingly happy. It's like, they take it seriously. But the thing is, I'd rather them sit there and be happy and have a laugh before they go on stage, because I know that deep down there that's covering up a little bit of nerves and anticipation and all that sort of stuff. And I'm lucky I've got a band that generally goes on stage and steps up that little bit extra, and they concentrate and everything. But they're a giddy, happy lot. I can't complain. There are other bands there that are, other bands are miserable. They can, that's just the way it is. But
clearly, no names mentioned. So obviously, you're going out, the performance, the piece, you've rehearsed it inside out. Is it just a case of kind of going, right, okay, I've got faith in them, let's just do it?
Yeah, well, yes, so you can do. You've got to go and deliver your performance that you've prepared. Try not to let anything else get in the road. It's your performance. And then after that, it's just, that's the nature of competition, which, it kind of goes against what music is all about in a way, but competition strives. It's here in our movement because it makes us better, it gives us repertoire, all that sort of stuff. Contesting in music, it's questionable, but it's one of those necessary things. And I think there's people will probably admit that they enjoy it too, because they're hunting against their peers. So it's and you get a rank and see where you're going, whether you're improving, whether you're not, what do you need to do to get better and all that sort of stuff. So.
Okay, well listen, absolutely the best of luck. I've got full faith in you, but we'll come and find you after your performance and see how it went.
Okay.
Lovely, thank you. Last minute pep talk, and that's it. In they go. So that's it. Eccles are going on stage now for their performance, their big performance. It's got so much riding on it. They've practiced. They've got it to as good a level as they can possibly get. Just wait for this man to cross. And then obviously it's the performance, and there's potential for it to be a promotion to championship. I can't wait. So, as Eccles play their pieces, plenty of other bands are waiting to register and eventually play. Over 3,000 musicians will go through the venue today. It's incredible to see all these bands coming together for such a great competition, and shows just how vibrant brass bands in the UK are. Eccles have played, and Debbie tells us how it went. How did it go?
Yeah, okay, there was a few bits, splits, but I suppose everyone will have some splits.
And so, kind of, in your heart of hearts, what do you think?
I think we did a really good job. Like I said, we put all of our heart into this, so we'll see what happens. There's such good competition in this section, so see what happens.
Just wait for the results.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you.
A few nervous looks in the hall. We caught up with Marika, who it's fair to say feels like she started on the back foot a little.
It was a bit unsettled in the first movement, which caught me off guard a little bit. It took them a while to settle. We were prepared for the acoustic, but I don't think anything can prepare you for actually how bad it is. It's one of the worst places to do a contest ever. It was just unsettled and a bit edgy. I think it made them a bit edgy, which I was hoping wouldn't happen, but sometimes it's a toss of a coin whether it does or not.
Are you able to pull that back? If you know that that's happening with the band in front of you, what can you do as a conductor to try and bring that back? Just
be there for them and smile and say, and they also know we've been together long enough. It's just like, well, forget about that, move on. And it got better after that. On a piece like this, I think splits and stuff like that can happen. It's quite hard. But the shape of the piece was what I wanted. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. So whether that gets noticed Well, no, of course they will notice my interpretation. That's actually insulting to the judges. They'll notice my interpretation, and if they like it, then you get 6 bands if they're all good and they don't all split a note, and then comes up another band and they split notes. Well, then sometimes that does come into account. I do enough judging where you have 2 very, very good performances and you can't differentiate, and then you sort of go, well, if there's something goes wrong here or something goes wrong there, you've got to micro judge it away in a way. But I was a little bit disappointed in the first movement. It was edgier than I thought it would be, but that's life.
And so on a scale of 1 to 10, if you like, coming out of there after just the performance, where would you place it?
Oh, I don't know, because I haven't heard anyone else. That's
just from your point of view, in terms of that performance itself, and you knowing the band.
Me knowing the band, in terms of what I don't think they could have. I don't think they did. Well, I don't think they delivered the performance that I thought they could. But under the spotlights, anything can happen. So I'm pretty happy with the way that they did some things magnificently well, and as you do with any piece, it's just disappointing. It was a bit edgy and nervous. That's all. It's been a while since that came into our contesting, but I think now that we're up in the top section and people are looking at us, I think that comes into play. So that's then something I've got to deal with before the next contest. And
do you think that edginess and that nervousness has come in because of the potential to where this could take you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think anyone gets a little bit self-conscious when the eyes are on you. I mean, I'd love to creep around the brass movement and not be noticed at all, and just go and do what I do. I don't like spotlights being on me. This is, I am uncomfortable. I'll just let you know.
Yeah. And we're not helping.
But it's just one of those things. I think that the pressure builds. I mean, it built when we were close to getting from the third section to the second section. It built when we were close to getting from the second section into the first section. And then you get a few more results and people look at you more. And then it's not that you think you should win, it's the fact that people expect you to win or to do well, so you feel this little bit of pressure on your shoulders, and it's hard to say, oh, I'm going to ignore that. It's not human to ignore external pressures. You can say you can block them out, we can focus on ourselves, we can do all of that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, you do think about what is expected of you, because you live your life like that. You grow up doing things that you expect your mum and dad have taught you. You do things to their expectations. You do things at school to the teacher's expectations, to the examination's expectations. So expectation is part of life. It's just unfortunate when it actually creeps into your performance. But that's also human too, so you can't.
Absolutely, and I think there is always, to err is human. There's always going to be a degree where it can't be absolutely perfect, because we're always seeking for perfection, but getting close as we can to it is almost as demanding anyway. And as you say, the expectation, the nervousness, the level to which you potentially could be going from this, that's always going to have an external effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny when say, oh, they didn't produce what they did in the band room. Well, of course they're not going to. It wasn't the band room. You say, oh, we left it in the band room. Well, no, you didn't. You left it there. That's where it counts.
Well, kind of, I sing beautifully in the shower, but I wouldn't want to do it on a stage.
I'm sure you sing beautifully in the shower.
Well, listen, I'm sure you did brilliantly well. We look forward to the results, and congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Inside the magnificent hall, and the results are being announced, but disappointingly for Eccles, the dream of a championship place was not to be. They were eventually placed 10th, which certainly isn't what anyone wanted or expected. Okay, so there you have it. There's the results as you saw them. There was an awful lot of tension in the room, an awful lot of excitement as well. Obviously, congratulations to Rainford, who came first and now then qualified for a championship place. A brilliant performance. But obviously, commiserations to Eccles. Didn't quite work out for them this time, but obviously, there's plenty of competitions to come. It's been a phenomenal experience following the band for today, and obviously the Northwest Area Brass Band Association. Many thanks to them for letting us in and having a look behind stage, if you like. I hope you've enjoyed all of the coverage that we brought for you today. Please do stay tuned to brasspass.tv, and we'll also be coming from the Yorkshire areas next week in Huddersfield. But for now, it's bye from me.